For the past 4 weeks, two of our Bloomberg Politics reporters, two of the most intrepid among our reporters, have been crunching the numbers, driving the battle to win in the battleground states across this great country of ours. This week, they have focused on the impact of third-party candidates in the race. Joining us now, the two men behind the Battleground 2016 series, Steve Yaccino, here on our set, and in Columbus, Ohio, we have Sasha Victory Lab Issenberg. Thank you guys for coming in. Steve, I have a question for you. So, what makes the threat of these third-party spoilers different this year?
The unpopularity of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. We saw it today with Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton hasn't necessarily wowed her coalition either, and both of them are flirting with unapproval ratings nearing 60%. And because of that, there's a lot of voters who are looking for other options, and third-party candidates are the natural place to go. Either that or they stay home.
And to be clear, although we have not mentioned them, they are Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate,
yep,
and Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate, now both kind of combined hovering at about 10% in the polls.
That's right.
Hey, Sasha, if I'm Clinton, who should I be worried about as far as the vulnerable voters defecting to a third party?
The thing, Clinton's voters that she has to worry about are ones who are not necessarily regular voters. You know, the younger whites that we talk about, the millennials, the Sanders voters, these would be people that she would see as get out the vote targets. They don't have a history of voting. I think that's a little bit of a difference from what Trump sees, where the types of people whom he could lose to a third-party candidate, especially Johnson, would be older white voters who are regular voters and are sort of core part of the Republican base.
So, Steve, other than swing states, where else should Hillary be concerned, and when would they start to panic as far as when they see a move to a third party?
I think there was this assumption early on in the race that Donald Trump was going to be the most affected by third-party candidates, especially because the best one in the race that seemed to be Libertarian Gary Johnson, who's a former Republican governor. And yet we've seen Hillary Clinton lose voters in a lot of key states to the people that Sasha was just mentioning, these young voters, a lot of them, some of them are suburban voters. And so that's a big deal in swing states because any movement in swing states matters. But it matters in other states too, and we looked at a few of them in Pennsylvania, in Virginia, in Colorado, and New Mexico, which is Gary Johnson's home state. These are all states that should lean Democrat, but in those states, if the third-party votes are coming mostly out of Hillary Clinton's column, there could be concern if it gets above 13%, 15% in Virginia, 16% in Colorado, and upwards. That's when they need to start worrying about it.
Sasha, talk about the opposite side of that coin, which is to say red states or pink states, for sure, that Donald Trump has to worry about the third-party thing.
Yeah, you know, so we went through and looked at the opposite thing, which is what if the surge was coming out of Trump's coalition in states where the Democrats weren't actively competing? But you start to see the same thing, which is that in some of these states, if you get, between 15 and 20%, Johnson probably more than Stein pulling out of Trump's coalition, these states can be put in play without Hillary Clinton necessarily spending a dime or campaigning there. That, if she just turns out the sort of core Democratic base, that could be a win number in states where the third party is drawing unevenly from the Republican.
Real quick, Sasha, I'm going to ask Steve the same question. Just like in the end, right here, Gary Johnson hasn't made the first debate. He's unlikely to make any of the debates. He's made a bunch of mistakes. Is Johnson going to matter or not, you think, on Election Day? Or are those millennial votes mostly going to either stay home and end up with Hillary Clinton? Which of those do you think is true?
I mean, it doesn't seem like Johnson's doing himself any favors, and it's, arguably the one thing he's done right is not to define himself that clearly. Right. I think it's very hard to understand what Johnson's running on, and that still leaves it possible that he can pull from both sides. We thought that the Libertarian would be pulling from the Republican. The fact is, disaffected Democrats are saying just as much that they like there.
All right. Sasha P. Eisenberg, Steven.
Mr.
Television Yaccino, fantastic. Thank you both. You can check out their Battleground 2016 series on BloombergPolitics.com.